What is up, Nickel City Mafia? The Buffalo Bills have clinched the playoff spot with a huge victory last night. I mean, it was fantastic. What a game. Everything that an AFC East matchup should have. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know. These last few games, my heart has really been going up and down on a roller coaster. I mean, this game, I'm telling you, Jake, by the way, this is Mr. Podger. I'm so excited. I always forget. This is Mr. Podger over there, my co-host. Jake, I'm going to tell you something. This game is going to be made into a holiday special. It's going to be right up there with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, A Wonderful Christmas. This is going to be one of my favorites. There are some amazing storylines in this game, including, let's start with the big one, right? The game was expected to have a lot of snow. I mean, they showed clips all day about how they were clearing off the snow, all the snow around the stadium, but the field was clear. There was no snow at kickoff, other than being cold. The wind, not much of a wind. It was a perfect football game to start that game. No elements, no snow, and Mother Nature decides to hold off until about 9 minutes left in the game, and she says, "You know what? It's time to bring in the elements, time to bring in the snow, time to bring in what Buffalo is known for." And she opens up the faucet a little bit and brings the snow. What, about 10 minutes ago, as we're starting to drive to try to tie up the game, which we did. And then she says, "All right, now I'm going to turn it up a little bit more, and I'm going to give each team, one try in the snow." Dolphins fail, Bills take it down. Jake, I mean, the storylines here, again, this is going to be an amazing holiday special. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, you absolutely, I think you set the mood perfect there, Mike. It was so poetic. At the end of the game, we get this massive driving snow coming in. It was so cool to watch. And yeah, I mean, Antonio even saying, he got chills when the stadium was singing "Let It Snow" while it's coming down. I mean, there's so many cool moments. The atmosphere the entire game just sounded incredible over the TV. I don't know if you had sound on when you were watching it at the party, Mike, but I was
lucky enough to just see it. I didn't get much sound.
It was an absolute electric factory all throughout the game. And I mean, how often do you see a game get delayed by snowballs? I mean, that was hysterical. I was crying laughing when I saw that. I thought about this too when Tyreek Hill almost had that touchdown catch. I'm like, is there a possibility for the first ever PI to be thrown on a fan for throwing a snowball at a receiver while he's trying to make a catch in the end zone? So, and then lo and behold, a couple minutes later, the refs come out and they said that the game has been delayed for a couple minutes due to fans in the stands throwing snowballs. It was hysterical. And then they're panning over to every single fan, lower level, people got their snowballs stacked up. Gosh. They look like Buddy the Elf and the movie Elf. It was incredible. So, I think the entire game yesterday was just an all-out battle. I mean, it was it's exactly what you want in television. I mean, if you're a fan just watching this game, it was great. Both teams were exchanging blows back and forth. And then at the end of the game for the snow to kind of pile in like that. I mean, that is the romanticism of sports that I talk about. That is why I don't want a dome, just because of moments like that. Like, that's so cool to see, And, you miss that when you're in a neutral environment. So, and then, of course, they show Tua on the bench, and he looks cold as ever. He's like, "Get me the hell out of here," holding on for dear life with his perfectly pulled up like this. So it was great. Yeah, I mean, everything about yesterday was awesome. The resilience that we showed. There were a couple moments. That third quarter, I think we were caught sleeping a little bit. We went out there and had a couple of real bad drives, 3 and outs, and yeah, it's just an amazing job by Josh Allen and co, and especially on that last drive. So I am so pumped.
Yeah, it also reminded me of just a heavyweight fight. Frazier, Ali, and the Bills land the first right in the first half. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then of course in the second half, McDaniels makes some really nice adjustments. He lands a hard right. They come out and have 16 unanswered points. And then finally Dorsey says, "All right, let's go. Enough of this." Lands the final blow, the hard left to the head, and down goes the Dolphins. It was incredible. And let's talk about Josh Allen, because Josh Allen was the star of this game.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Josh Allen. So talk to me about Josh Allen. Let's go right to that final drive in the second half where you think you're going to get some points at least, right? 3 points. We're going to get at least a field goal. And he does his magic. So talk to me.
Yeah, I was super worried because as he's rolling out to the right and the time is beginning to expire. I mean, there's like 2 seconds left and then ticks, and he launches one in the end zone. I'm like, if we don't get this, we don't get points on this drive. And there's James Cook right in the end zone there. Just a beautiful throw. He threw a freaking rope. For James Cook to hold on to that ball was very impressive. So, yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And that was just the Josh Allen magic that we started to see, back at the beginning of this year and, throughout his career. It's an amazing, amazing feeling. I was so pumped up going into half, right after that play. As time expires, we get a really much needed touchdown. So then, of course, you're thinking, if we come out in the second half, we go down and score, this game could get out of hand a little bit. But didn't really happen that way. But, hey, again, Josh Allen worked his magic and kept the faith, and the receiver stepped up for him towards the end of the game, and that was what was important. So love to see it.
Yeah, I was right there with you. I'm like, we're going to get I'm expecting a quick pass, right? And, man, I just got to say, opposing teams, their hearts just must sink whenever they see Josh Allen roll to his right. Yes. When that man gets to his right, big things happen 99% of the time.
Yep.
And he did it again. And it's crazy because he always loves to do that where he goes against the grain, right? He'll go to the right and throw it against the grain. He kind of throws it back to the left. And last week it was Gabe Davis. This week it was James Cook. Unbelievable. Like, again, we were talking about that in the Discord channel. When he rolls to his right, look out. Every defensive coordinator in the league must be like, oh, my God, what's going to happen now to us? And he did it again. He did it again. Just so impressed with him. So you have to feel good, right? It is, what is it at that point? It's 21-13, I believe, at halftime.
Right. Yep.
And you have to, I was like, yeah, let's go in. Let's get the 2 for 1. Let's get the points before half, which we did. Let's have a strong opening third quarter drive. Let's, like you said, let's get this game in control. Let's get total control of this game. That didn't happen. Like I said, Mike McDaniel, credit to him because they came out with some adjustments. And talk to me about what you saw there from the Dolphins there in that second half and getting their playmakers involved.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge. Obviously, the Jalen Waddle pass, there was a blown coverage there. They even talked about it on the broadcast. Mike, I know you didn't have sound, but Mark Sanchez kind of drew up what happened there. So Tremaine Edmonds was looking back at Jordan Porter saying, hey, dude, if he crosses me, I cannot run with him. I need some help on the backside. And it didn't happen. So that's what actually went down on that Jalen Waddle catch, catch and toss, pitch and catch for a touchdown. And, of course, Damar Hamlin's not going to catch up to him. I mean, he's so damn fast, so he just took it to the house. So that's what happened there. So that was just kind of a miscommunication. And unfortunately, it was a big moment for them because they started to get some momentum. The one thing I will say, though, you talk about the adjustments, getting the playmakers involved. They were so good. The first quarter, Raheem Mostert had over 100 yards rushing. And they got totally away from that. I think had they continued to utilize him in the game, it could have been a totally different ending for the Dolphins. We would have been in a lot of trouble because our run defense didn't necessarily look great. But we did play that bend, dope, break defense, and we figured it out. And, man, I'll tell you, talking about my dad brings up Trey White a little bit here. It was invaluable to have a guy like that out on the field last night. I think he really solidified, in our minds that he's coming back. Like he is getting to the point where he was, as an all-pro. He looked really, really good yesterday, and I was super pumped to have him out there. Because if we didn't have him out there, I don't know, it might have been a different outcome as well. So a lot of things that happened. I don't think Matt Milano's totally healthy either. He had one of his, I guess, and it wasn't even necessarily a bad game for him. I just don't think that he played up to the standards that he's been playing up to the entire season. So, I think Mike McDaniel did a good job of making adjustments in terms of getting his playmakers involved. But to get away from the run like that, I really think it hurt them a lot.
Let's say hi to some folks in the channel. Obviously, we said hi to Antonio. Good to see you out there as always. Tom, who was at the game. Tom working hard, and we're going to talk about the fundraiser that we're doing. But Tom was out there working hard, giving out flyers. He got a couple donations. Thank you so much, Tom. He said it was a bit rude to throw into the end zone, but amongst the crowd, it was fun. Well, I'm going to go back to my third grade principal. I remember being at school one day in Buffalo, and I threw this snowball and hit this poor girl right in the back of the head, and got called into the principal's office and was given a talk about how dangerous snowballs can be, especially it looked like those things were nice ice balls. They weren't
Perfect
soft at all,
snow.
right?
Perfect. Yes.
So, Tom, yeah, keep it in the stadium, in the seats, but not on the field. But yeah, it looks like folks were having. Dude, you said it right, Jake. When they panned to people, they had snowballs stacked.
Just stacked up.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Well, I mean, I think part of it was because when the fans were coming into their seats, not all the seats were cleared, right? They had to clear their own seats off. So like, hell, I'm going to stock up on the snowballs. But you saw them going all game long. Absolutely crazy.
So two great uses for that type of snow. It's perfect for I guess, to set your drink down into. And not only that, it cools your drink. So it keeps your beer nice and cold. Not that it needed any more cooling probably, but so there's a good use for that. And then, of course, for snowballs and throwing snow up in the air when we score a touchdown. It did remind me a bit of Philly. It was kind of like it was teetering a line where it's like, all right, you're throwing snowballs at players and coaches. I mean, it's funny to a point, but like also kind of being scumbags. I mean, come on, like class it up a little bit. We're not the Philadelphia Eagles here. However, how great would it be to have a game, Buffalo and Philly going at it, two degenerate fan bases like that? I mean, in the snow, I think that'd be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely the first time I've ever seen a game delayed by, basically a snowball fight. Hilarious.
I think I've seen one other time where they got involved, whether it was snowballs or something else was being thrown. I did see one other game like that. Timmy, he says he's currently watching Jogo Bonito. It's Messi's World Cup to lose.
Yeah.
And the other football.
Football.
That's going on. And Timmy, I think Timmy was the one who made the bold prediction that the Dolphins would have more yards but lose. He almost hit it. I was literally at the end of that game. I'm like,
right after the game, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Jake, did he hit that? Because I felt like, the Dolphins had slightly more yards, but they did not. It was close though. It was close.
Yeah.
It was a great call. I will say this: I don't think anyone really hit the score, but we at least dropped 30. The predictions were there were 30 points at least dropped this week. It was nice to see. But Tom over there also gave a bold prediction on the Sabre score, and he hit it 5-2. He nailed it. So great job there, Tom. He's calling himself the prodigy, man. He's like, yes, I am the prodigy. I predicted that.
That was extremely impressive. And I apologize. I wasn't able to get on the Discord. So my brother-in-law, I watched the game at my brother-in-law's house. And for whatever reason, he has the worst Wi-Fi of all time. So I'm using data. And any app I try to log into, whether it was Instagram, Discord, whatever, couldn't even get onto it. So I was just relying on texting. Somehow that was going through. I don't know how, but I have to catch up a little bit on the Discord chat. But Tom, great freaking job, man. I mean, that's a great prediction by you. You nailed it right on the head.
Yeah. And then Big L's out there. So let's talk about that. One of the things that we stayed pretty healthy until we heard the news about Mitch Morse, who had a concussion. And I believe this is his 6th concussion. And he has talked in the past about retiring because of concussions. So this one's concerning. And, he is the captain of that offensive line. I felt that offensive line did a fantastic job. Even when he went out, they came in and did a great job. I think the one sack, the strip sack that happened against Josh had all kinds of time. He was back there, just took a little too long. So I really thought they did a fantastic job. Much different than the first game, I thought. And that was without Ryan Bates in there. And they had, I think they started, who was it? Van Roten. Was it Van Roten at guard?
Yep.
And then Quessenberry had to come in. I think, is that who came in? Who came in at center?
Yeah, it was so they slid Greg Van Roten over to center, and then David Quessenberry was playing guard.
Yeah,
so not his natural position per se, but he can do it. Obviously, actually, he might be better at guard, to be honest with you, just because I think right now he's still banged up, and you don't have that wide 9 you have to deal with, and they got some stud pass rushers. Again, I think Spencer Brown struggled a little bit, but it was a better game for him.
Oh, for
So that
sure.
was definitely good. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think just everything that we've been dealing with on the offensive line too. I mean, Mitch Morse go out with an injury. Those guys have to make adjustments on the fly. I mean, David Questenberry playing a position he doesn't even normally play, and he's going out there, and I thought he did a pretty solid job. So, yeah, shout out to those guys up front. They did what they had to do, and we'll see. Timmy brings up a good point. It's Ike Butker's last day to be activated. That's today. So if he doesn't get activated today, he goes back on IR. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, no, I thought Spencer Brown did a really good job. I mean, we only gave up 2 sacks for 8 yards.
Yeah, and that's you're talking about guys: Bradley Chubb, Melvin Ingram, Jalen Phillips, and then on the interior you got Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer had a really nice game, I really think we did a solid job of neutralizing that defensive line. I mean, they did a really good job up front. So definitely hold our hats high about that. I think the run game was kind of interesting. Bobby Hart, he was in a lot too, and I think when we needed plays out of the run game, especially on 3rd and short, Devin Singletary did a tremendous job too.
Yes, he did.
So that's something to be mentioned as well.
Yeah, I totally agree there. So let's go into Josh Allen now. Let's move forward. We talked about that first half, and we talked about this offensive line. And again, I felt they had plenty of time. There was plenty of time Josh had to throw. That final drive, great protection. That drive to tie up the game. Let's talk about that. So the Bills are down 8, right? The Bills get the ball, and that drive was almost over before it started. Allen runs or scrambles, fumbles the ball. Actually, it was in the back, right? He fumbles the ball, and I believe Spencer Brown was the one who jumped all over it, recovered it.
Was. Thank God. That was a heads-up play by him.
That was. I mean, so the Dolphins, to even out, people are going to be like, yeah, you got lucky. But they also had a play where Tua fumbled the ball, and their team recovered it. So that happened as well. But let's go through that drive. I mean, because it was looking grim. It was looking grim. We're down by 8. They had punches in the gut. They had come out with, 16 unanswered points. We're down by 8. And Josh starts off with almost a fumble recovery for the other team. We get it back, and then he goes on and makes just a great drive. So talk about that, and then let's talk about the 2-point conversion a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first off, I think Tim brings up a point saying he thinks it's time to bench Isaiah McKenzie. First off, I want to say I think that one catch by Isaiah McKenzie to get both knees down like that was so freaking close. And I think he had he definitely had one of his tougher games. But up until I think once he had that catch, it kind of gave him some confidence because even though it wasn't technically a catch, I think it gave him confidence because that's a tough catch to make. So then he goes out there and he draws a PI, which was arguably one of the biggest plays of the game. So that was a great job by him. And actually, I mean, if he doesn't draw that PI, I don't know what happens, Mike. I don't know if we actually do go and win the game because that really solidified the field position and allowed us to go down and, get the final win there. But anyways, talking about the final drive. So this is we're talking about when Josh Allen, we go down, throw a 5-yard touchdown pass to Dawson Knox. Beautiful job. I mean, beautiful execution. Again, the protection was really good. Josh is just taking matters into his own hands that entire drive. And he has that big scramble, and you could tell he's playing pissed off football, and there's nothing worse. And I think this is very important to distinguish. There's a very big difference between a frustrated Josh Allen and a pissed off Josh Allen. I think a frustrated Josh Allen, he gets a little too rattled. He's too erratic with his throwing. And then a pissed off Josh Allen is just a guy where he knows he's better. He's been making all the throws. He's been doing all the right things all game. And he's like, you know what? If no one else is going to make a play, I'm going to make a play. So he goes out there, has that big scramble. I don't even know how many rushing yards he had on that drive, but he had a majority of his rushing yards on that drive alone. My God, I mean, you could tell there's no way he's losing that game. He was all in at that point, and just an incredible job on that.
44. That you're talking about that 44-yard run. I mean, he took it into another, kicked it into another gear.
He did.
I'm like, there's a corner coming up on him. Corners are fast, and he takes it up another gear and runs past that corner. I'm like, holy crap! I don't think Josh Allen. I mean, I think in and his 40 time, he's around a 4.58 guy. I mean, he took it to a 4.4 level. He's like, like he
Actually,
said.
Mike, I think he ran like a 4.8 or something like that. It wasn't a great 40 time at
Was
all.
it really? I
No,
thought he
yeah,
was okay.
I can let me get confirmation
You
on
might
that.
be
I don't
right.
think it was.
Maybe it was like a 4.7 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But whatever. I mean, it didn't look like that. When we see him run, it was amazing. You're right. He took it into his own hands. But talk to me about that. Did they see something with what was happening on the defense? I mean, it looked like we know that they were dropping 7 guys all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe even 8. Did they finally make that adjustment and say, you know what, Josh, that's open for you all day.
Wide open.
Let's go.
They showed it. Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful job by Josh, especially on the one design quarterback draw, because basically if you see that open, like you see the linebacker kind of drop back into coverage like that, I mean, the middle is wide open, so just take it yourself. And he's so dangerous. When he gets an open field, I mean, good luck. He will run you over. He's actually looking for contact, which is not, I guess it's not totally recommended, as a quarterback running and lowering your shoulder like that, but that's his game, and we just have to accept that. I get that there's a risk of injury, but also look what it did for us yesterday. I mean, he totally won us that game. I mean, that was all him. So just a tremendous job by him. But yeah, Timmy says 4.76 40 by Josh. And I think that's what – so people talk about 40-yard dashes and how impressive it is. Of course it is. You run a 40-yard dash and you're running a 4.2. That's extremely impressive to have the straight line speed like that. But then there is a difference between 40 time and game speed. Josh Allen has – tremendous game speed, and there's no one that's going to take him down. I mean, within one hit. I mean, it's going to be, you're going to have a whole defense to take him down. So, he's such a gamer, man. I love him to death, honestly.
So talking about, we talked about the struggles McKenzie had a little bit, and to answer, my point of view is no, I don't think it's time to bench him. But we did see Cole Beasley on one catch. I don't know how many snaps. I haven't been able to see how many snaps he was on the field for.
Yeah.
But first game back, gets the catch. Big L saying we need to use him more. I think they will over time. I was a little surprised. No, I wasn't. I was like, are they going to put him in? And we got word that he was going to be active and play. And I thought once I heard that he might be in, and we might be throwing the ball to him more. But I think it's just going to be McKenzie and him just rotating. I think that's a good combination. They both bring different things.
I saw a lot of Khalil Shakir too, actually.
Khalil was out there.
Yeah.
And you spoke about Knox. So Knox catches that touchdown. And Knox had a very nice game. He was the leading receiver. But he had that one series that was rough. I mean, these were like throws. Josh was right to him. As easy as you and I can make those catches. Right. Yeah. And you're a better receiver than I am, but I'm telling you, I can make those catches. But so he had a rough series, but man, he came back strong, made up for it, and had that big catch there. And, it was how far was that to him? Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it was a 5-yard pass to Knox. So beautiful throw, too. Beautiful throw, beautiful route. And Knox comes down with it. So super happy to see that. I think Knox, let me see what his stat line was here.
6 for 98 and a touchdown.
Yeah, it was
pretty damn
amazing.
Impressive. Yeah.
What was also good about that is I had Knox in my showdown lineup, and for a $15 bet in DraftKings, I won $76. At one point, nice. I finished 18th. At one point, man, I was up near the top. I picked Hines, who was nobody had Hines, and he had that one touchdown. But anyhow, so then, right, they go for the 2 points, try to tie it up. It's kind of hilarious what happens, right? Josh dives for the 2 point, the ball's knocked loose, and it's just a scramble. The thing goes back to like the 30 or 40-yard line. It's kind of comical.
It's fumbly out there, pretty much.
Right, and then they cut to commercial, and I'm like, are they not going to review that? Because even in the house I was at, it's like, he might have got there. He might have got there. And I don't know what you're thinking at that point, but we come back from commercial, and they're giving the signal that the conversion was good. I'm like, oh, my God. And then they show it. It was close. It was close, Jake.
Game of inches, Mike. It's a game of inches. And had Josh not been 6'5", I'll tell you what, I don't know if he gets that because, my gosh, I mean, it was close. It was very, very close. And I think Dolphins fans are probably a little pissed off about that. But they went in, they reviewed it. They did their due diligence, and my gosh, I mean, it was like the nose of the football just barely crossed the plane. So, yeah, amazing.
Well, the only thing I say to that, them being upset, is let's say we don't make it, right? They're up by 2. We kicked the ball off to them. And then the snow has started at this time. Now the snow is coming down pretty hard. The field is getting covered. Mother Nature says, I want to see at least the last 9-10 minutes of this game played in the snow. And they said, I'm going to do this. Mother Nature did this for you, Jake. Absolutely, 100%. Mother Nature said, throw some snow on the ground for Jake. And so they got the ball back. They were up by 2. If they would have been up by 2, they got the ball back and they failed. They failed to drive down, get any more points. They got the ball back with 9 minutes and 2 seconds to go. And then it was just a great stop. They had gotten up to, let's see, where they had gotten up to the Buffalo 43-yard line. It was 3rd and 12. And then let's see what happened, incomplete pass to Waddle. And we get the ball back. And then we go down the field. So they had an opportunity there. Again, I'm just assuming we don't make that play. But yeah, it was close. It was super close. Everyone at my house that I was at, they were not Bills fans, but they were cheering for. It's kind of funny. I was telling Jake before the game. I was at a house at a Christmas party that I didn't know 70% of the people. They put the game on, and I'm just being a typical Bills Mafia Bills fan. I'm going crazy. I don't think they ever seen something like this. They're looking at me like, what is this guy? What's going on here? So they start coming over because they're like, what is he watching?
Yeah.
I'm going up there. I'm bumping the screen. I'm like, yes. And when Dawson Knox caught that touchdown, and they're just like, what is this? They have never experienced a fan going crazy for their team. It was pretty funny. But all of them there was a Patriot fan. There was a Rams fan. All of them said that was a 2-point successful 2-point.
Well, that's
conversion.
good. I'm glad they did that at least. And you said that guy was in your ear the entire time.
Man, the Patriot guy was chirping. He just was like, "They're gonna blow it. They're gonna blow it." And he was making the right call for a while there, especially when they dropped those 16 points in the second half and went up on top of us. I was like, "Oh my God, can we get this guy out of here, please?"
Yeah.
But it was fun to see us come back, and then I rubbed it in on him a little bit. So good stuff there. But
that's awesome.
I'm sure, like you said, the Dolphins fans might have been a little upset. I still don't think that was again, they had a chance. They had a chance to go down. They got the ball back, and they could not do it in the snow. Let's talk about that final drive by Josh Allen, because this thing's special. Again, another reason why there's so many good storylines in this game, and this could be made into a holiday special. So we get the ball back with 5 minutes and 56 seconds at our 7-yard line. I'm not liking that, right? I'm like, oh my God, in the snow. It looked like the wind was in our face. There was a little bit of a wind. It wasn't crazy last night, but it definitely was in our face on that drive. And talk to me about that final drive, because Josh Allen said, you know what? It's time for me to show folks that I can play in the snow. He dialed up his sights, and dude, he threw darts, and the players, I don't know what happened to the players, everybody like magnets. It was like there was a magnet on that football and magnets in their gloves. Let me throw it to you.
That was the most important part. I think that's what I was more worried about. It wasn't necessarily Josh. I think Josh was very on all day pretty much, except for right at the beginning of the game. He threw some errant passes and some higher passes and whatnot, and he kind of looked a little erratic, but he tied it up and came together. Every single throw I felt like was catchable for the most part, and that's, going into that last drive. I mean, we had a few drops yesterday, a few really tough drops, by Dawson Knox, by Isaiah McKenzie, a couple other guys. So I think that's the majority of my worry just came from the receivers being able to hold on to the football, catch the football. Every single guy made plays. He went 4 for 5 on that drive, I think 40 yards, and then had a couple rushing yards as well. And then Devin Singletary had some nice runs as well. And then Isaiah McKenzie drew the PI, which was tremendous. So, yeah, I think, that is battling through adversity. And that is a team that has resilience, and good teams find a way to win the close ones like that. And boy, it's funny. The storyline after that Dolphins game back in September was we can't win the close ones. We go down and we choke. And it was almost like it was poetic in the sense that, and, also too, it could have been a similar situation because the Dolphins, that last game that we played against them in September, they were up 21-19, could have went down and won. Had we not made that 2-point conversion, it would have been 29-27. And my dad makes a good point. We still would have won. Yeah. Even if we go down and kick the field goal, we would just win by 1 point instead.
Right.
So it was just a really good chance to serve some cold, hard revenge right there. And Yeah, I mean, everyone, not just Josh, I mean, every single player on that offense on that final drive was locked in, focused, and made plays when they had to, caught the football, did everything right. So I think the only thing you could say that maybe wasn't great was when Devin Singletary ran it and didn't get the first down. I mean, he could have really scored a touchdown, but
Yep.
I think there's some PTSD there, and seeing how effective the Dolphins can be on offense, you don't want to give them a chance to score again. So don't score a touchdown, go down, run the clock out, kick the game-winning field goal, and that was the goal. So interesting clock management by Mike McDaniel. I think we got a little bit of a gift in that sense, but
Yeah, not using his timeouts for sure.
unreal job by the
Yeah.
offense there. I mean,
Yeah,
really.
so it was crazy. I mean, starting at the 7-yard line, we have the nice pass to Gabe Davis for 14 yards, right? But then Josh Allen is sacked. He's sacked for an 8-yard loss. You're like, oh, damn it, here we go again. But Josh made some incredible plays on 3rd and long. I think we hit on a 3rd and 17 earlier in the game. So it's 2nd and 18. He hits Gabe Davis for a 15-yarder,
Yeah.
and then he hits Diggs for a 6-yarder to get the first down and keep the play going, or keep the series going.
What I love too, Mike, I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt, but what I
No.
love is that when Josh has a 3rd and long or a 2nd and long, he's not thinking, oh, I'll take a couple of yards, just to get us some better field position. He's thinking, no, let's see what we can do. We'll get this first down. I don't care if it's 3rd and 20, 3rd and 40, whatever it is. We're going to get this damn first down. And even Mark Sanchez was saying on the broadcast, talking about how, you can get a couple of yards back. Like, that's not the type of football that Josh plays. And I appreciate the hell out of that, because he wants to, I guess, defy the odds all the time when he's out there on the field. So that Gabe Davis throw and catch, I thought, by the way, Gabe Davis, pretty solid game for him yesterday. That was, he made catches when he needed to, and some big ones at that.
Yeah, so that final drive was, how many plays is that? I'm trying to read this. 16 plays or 15?
Yeah.
15 plays. I mean, unbelievable in that
Textbook.
in that weather. And again, that big play was that 2nd and 18, and they were able to keep things going. But man, we just run the clock out. And we did this earlier in the season. Who do we do that against? Where we had that final drive starting deep in our own end. We went down, kick a winning field goal at the end of the game. Who was that?
Was that the Ravens game, maybe?
I think that was the Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens.
Yeah.
So we did it again, and it was just a thing of beauty. And it was unreal because of the conditions, right? At that time, the snow was coming down hard.
Oh, yeah.
And just the plays that these guys were making. And yeah, I mean, at the end when Singletary went down, I agree. I was okay with that. I'm like, I know he purposely went down.
Right.
They didn't want to give him any time left. We've been burnt by 13 seconds. Hell, give him 20 seconds, and who knows what the hell would happen, because they have deep threats. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, we saw. They both made big, big plays. So, unbelievable finishing drive there. Again, both teams had a shot. And kudos to the Dolphins, dude. Kudos to them. They played their butts off. It was a great game. They have nothing to, have their heads high, keep their heads high, because this team's good. I do think they make it into the playoffs. I think right now, where are they sitting right now as far as the playoff? They're still in the playoffs, right? Right now, if
they are. Yeah, I
was
believe. Yeah, so I think the only thing that maybe happened was they might drop a spot, but they're still in. I mean, if the playoffs start today, they're still in the playoffs, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and let me get over here. Hey, Slinky, it's been a while since we saw you. Was it just me after the phone? I thought it was over. Yeah, I think you were talking about that drive to tie it up.
My heart sank. Yeah.
And then, guys, I'm not joking. I was watching a Dolphins podcast, and they think they still have a chance to win the division after the loss. They're not out of it mathematically, but all the Bills have to do is win one more game or one loss from them, and it's over. So highly unlikely. Timmy out there. Bills have one tough game left against the Bengals. Dolphins will probably win out their schedule. Green Bay, Jets, and Pats for them. Yeah, that Bengal game is looking large. We have the Bears in front of us, though, one game at a time. And then, yes, that Bengal game is going to decide who is the top seed in the AFC for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. By the way, Timmy, not a fan of the snowball throwing. He was mentioning that earlier on. So I'm with you, Timmy. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's not super classy. I think it's fun. Obviously, if you're in the stands and you're throwing snow up in the air and whatnot. But yeah, to be throwing snowballs at players and coaches, that's a little bush league. I mean, again, we're not the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, although we do match them in some senses in terms of being degenerates with the tailgating and all that stuff. So, but we do it in a fun way. We're not supposed to be doing it in that type of way, you know?
Yeah, Slinky's saying if the Jets and Pats win today, Dolphins they fall out of the playoffs. So, yeah, interesting there. Crazy. The AFC East, man. The AFC East is good for sure. They're very competitive. Yeah. And then what did he say? I'd rather you answer my first question, but if you had the choice, would you trade Davis for Waddle? Man, I know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna let Jake take this one first.
I mean, absolutely. I don't know why you wouldn't. This guy, you know, like I think Gabe Davis, obviously super boomer bust. He's been playing better. I think he's been challenged, obviously, not only by the fan base, but by the coaching staff to, you know, secure the football, make the catches that he needs to make. And he has been doing that. But, man, I'll tell you what, why would you not? Like, I would definitely trade Gabe and maybe a second or something for Jalen Waddle. It will never happen, but absolutely I would do it. I mean, to have that much speed on offense, could you imagine? I mean, just basically send him on a go route every play. Josh Allen just launch it down the field. Boom. I mean, that's 6.
I'm going to take the 5th on that. I want you to answer Tom's question. He said, I'd like you to answer the first question. Do you guys think the snowball helped us win? I think the fans interfered with the Dolphins' first field goal. They almost had a touchdown, but kept getting pelted with snowballs.
So that's what I was saying. Yeah, like that Tyreek Hill pass where he almost caught the touchdown pass. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, is this going to be the first PI ever thrown on a fan? You know, so, and then of course, a couple minutes later, they came out and talked about how, you know, anyone throwing snowballs will be ejected, is liable to being prosecuted, and will receive a 15-yard penalty, which I don't know how you could determine who threw the snowball, but I guess if you throw a snowball at a Bills player or a Dolphins player, you could assume it's the opposing fan base. So you'd probably get, if it was to a Bills player, probably a penalty on the Dolphins. If it's to a Dolphins player or coach, probably on the Bills.
So let's go through some stats here. I want to compare the quarterbacks here. Tua threw for 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback QBR rating of 54. Josh Allen threw for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Neither of them had an interception, and Josh Allen's QBR rating was 54.4. So interesting. Their QBR rating is pretty much spot on between the both of them. And I thought, you know, Tua, after struggling his last 2 games, played a really good game. I thought he did well. And again, the defense was giving up some plays, but when they had to shut it down, they did. It was interesting. So we were talking about that running game. You know, they ran the ball. They had 188 yards rushing on us. Like you said, Mostert, I think, had over 100 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And when we talked about on the pregame show, I mean, the Dolphins, they averaged like 90 yards a game rushing. Mm-hmm. So the Bills, if anything, if I'm defensive coordinator, which I'm not even close, but I'm looking at that stat. I'm like, they don't run the ball much. I'm not going to worry about that run. I got to shut down these 2 big guys. And I think that's why you saw us getting gashed initially. And because they've seen, if the Dolphins are looking at any film, they've seen in previous games, teams having success with the run. It seemed like they were just running to the right constantly. And there was no one out there getting out there quick enough to shut that down. And like you said, I'm not sure why they went away from it. I do think the Bills got better as the game went on.
They did.
And making that. Yeah. So it was interesting to say the least because, like I said, this has been an interesting year. You know, in years past, we've always struggled against the run. This year, we've been up and down. It's like been a roller coaster. There's been games we shut down Derrick Henry like he wasn't Derrick Henry. We shut down some other good running teams. But here we are going against a team that's not known to run the ball. Why would they? They have Waddle and Hill, and here they go. Again, Mike McDaniel's making a good call. He's like, dude, we can run on these guys. And they started off. And I think that's what happened, Jake. I don't know what your thoughts are. Early on, Buffalo playing a scheme that just shut down their big weapons. And, you know, don't get me wrong. Rasheed Mostert is a good running back. Very good running back. He's fast. Did you see him turn on the burners a couple times?
He's fast as hell. Yeah, that guy. So his 40 time, you want to talk about 40 times? I think he's like high 4.2, low 4.3s. So fast as lightning for sure. Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah, the game plan behind all that. I think the Bills obviously came out, you know, wanting to make sure that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle didn't make plays. There was the one broken play by Jalen Waddle, of course, but otherwise he was pretty quiet for the most part. And Tyreek Hill had a lot of short catches. He had 9 catches for 69 yards and didn't really do a whole lot. He had the 1 touchdown catch, but Otherwise, I thought we did a really good job against both of those guys. Mike Gesicki had one catch. Trent Sherfield had a drop. I mean, otherwise, I mean, their offensive weapons, I think, were neutralized for the most part. So that was definitely good, too.
Talk to me about that, Tyreek Hill. Like you said, he had a lot of small, short catches, but he did have that one nice 20-yard touchdown catch against Trey White. And it was almost like, I mean, Trey was playing press coverage, I believe. And it felt like to me, was that also a blown coverage by the safety? Like it didn't feel like he had over the top.
Damar Hamlin, if he comes down and gives the help that he needed to give, he was a little late to it. That might be an interception. And I think Trey obviously knew he should have had some help on the back end there.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. But I really do think that's a pick, So if DeMar plays that right, instead of it being a touchdown, I mean, that's going the other way, and it's a touchback for us. And, that could have certainly altered the score of the game as well. So, I mean, that'll happen from time to time. I think Trey, again, I very, very happy with his progress. I think he played a really good game yesterday, and God, we were lucky to have him out there.
Yeah, there was another play that he actually made a good run stop. Again, they were going to the right with Mostert.
The shoelace,
and Mostert had a huge hole. He was going to go for big yardage.
Yeah.
And there's Trey White making that tackle. So good to see him out there. He's only going to continue to get better and better and better. Now, let's talk about I want to talk about cornerback number 2. We saw Kaiir finally out on the field. I thought Kaiir, when he was out there, when I saw him in plays, and again, I don't know the distribution of snap counts between him and Dane Jackson. Who did you see out there most of the time?
It was mainly Dane. And let me say something. Kaiir Elam played a really good game of football. He almost had a pick that could have been a pick 6, too. God, I mean, I thought he really did a good job yesterday. He needs to be playing over Dane Jackson. No disrespect to Dane, but I think Kaiir is the better option for sure. Very evident.
He's a taller guy, and his 40. Talking about 40s, we're all about 40-yard times. Was like 4.3 something.
4.38. Yeah, 4.38.
I mean, come on, against guys like Waddle and Hill, I want that guy out there. But
that's the thing. That Alabama, you turn on the tape from that Florida Alabama game. I think it was last year. I mean, or 2 years ago, rather, or a couple of years ago. It was the SEC championship game where Kaiir Elam, he shut down both Jamison Williams and Jalen Waddle. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it was good. And I think
it was John Mechie. I'm sorry, it wasn't Jalen Waddle. It was John Mechie. My bad.
All right. Well, we're going to have a Christian Benford coming back in a week or so. But I do think, I totally agree with you. We've been saying this now for a few weeks. We wanted to see Kaiir out there. It's been strange that we don't know what happened the last 2 to 3 weeks, but he was out there. He did a great job, and he was, whenever there was a pass completed against him, he was right there. He was right there with some amazing coverage. I thought Taron Johnson had a really good game. My guy TJ, I called for a pick 6. It's going to happen one of these days.
He almost had one.
I know. I'm going to keep. Yes, you're right. And I'm like, come on, he's going to happen. I'm just going to keep making that my bold prediction. And one day I'm going to hit this again. But I thought TJ did a fantastic job as well. Let's talk about. So let's go. We've been talking a lot about the offense. Before we switch over to defense, I just want to say, is there anyone else? We saw Knox with his 6 for 98 and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs 5 for 60. Again. We've been talking about get him the ball more. And there was a couple of times he was a little frustrated. You saw it. I at least one play. He's like, oh, my God, I'm wide open. Why aren't you throwing me the ball?
Right. Yeah, it was crazy to see. And there was the one play, Josh just overthrew him a little bit. Oh, yes. Too.
Yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's such a hard throw to make, too, on the run. You're in this crazy weather out there. And, to make that throw, it's tough. But God, I mean, this close, Mike. This close.
Yeah, it was. But that's when Josh is rolling to his left. Now, he's damn good rolling to the left or the right. But we know on the right, big thing's going to happen. On the left, you're like, let's see what happens here.
That's a hard throw to make.
It is.
And it was close. I mean, I think obviously he had the right idea, but just put a little too much on it.
Yeah. So on there, so we had Stephon Diggs 5 for 60, Gabe Davis 4 for 56, Devin Singletary 3 for 28. And if you look at the total yardage, Singletary had more yardage than your boy James Cook. I'm feeling I need to start making the flight arrangements to come to Buffalo to have that dinner because we got we're 11-3 now. We got 3 games left, and yes, unless something massive happens, I feel Singletary will have more total yardage than James Cook. But I tell you what,
feeling a 300-yard game out of James Cook in that game.
But James Cook, look at out there, and that catch right at half was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Singletary had 3 catches for 28. I felt like when the game was on the line, they went with Singletary. They're like, let's go with Singletary. I'll tell you, as much as Josh was running in those type of conditions, especially when it snows, and Josh sometimes holds that ball out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, hold on to the ball. That's all I kept saying on every run on that final drive. Hold on to the ball. And the drive before that where we went down to tie up the game.
Yeah.
On the receiving side for the Dolphins, Waddle had 3 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, that big 67-yarder was huge. Big momentum changer right there, and that was in the second half. Again, McDaniels made some adjustments. Kudos to him. I thought Dorsey struggled a little bit in the second half to make some adjustments, but he figured it out in the in the fourth. And it was mostly Josh, take over this game. I mean, if I'm an offensive coordinator, just like Josh, they're just dropping everyone. Just take off, man, and he did.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I guess if you're talking anything that was really disappointing was just the lack of usage with Cole Beasley, because you saw the first off the respect he commands when he's out there on the field. It opens up an entire side of the field. I mean, when Cole was out there, they threw that one swing pass to Devin Singletary, and he had, wide open running room all over the place. So, just having him out on the field, I think, is huge, because you don't know where we're going to go. You have Cole Beasley, you have these other weapons. It's God. We have to find a way to get him more involved, and not only for that, but also because he's on our fantasy team. Me and Tim, we share a dynasty fantasy league, and we both thought he was going to have himself a day yesterday, and unfortunately, 1 catch for 9 yards. That just ain't going to cut it. So, a little selfish on my end, but I do think, he obviously makes a big difference. And after that first catch, I thought, here we go. We're going to keep it rolling. He stayed on the field. But it does seem to be that they're kind of easing him into the offense a little bit.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I know your bold prediction was that he'd have, 8 catches?
8 for 47 and a touchdown. And a lot of key third down catches, So...
we have a lot of people out there on the show today, so say hi. Tell us where you're from. We love to meet new people, even if it's Dolphins fans. You guys put up a hell of a fight, and again, I still think you're a contender. The Bills. We brought up in the pregame show that 1991 game of the 1990 season. They faced the Dolphins 3 times that year, and that one was a big one. So we might see that again. We might see them again. I do want to, before we switch over to the defense and talk them up a little bit, I want to say, first of all, if you're new to the channel, please comment, like, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. It's free to do, right? There's no cost to you, Jake, at all.
Right.
It helps us out tremendously. So drop a nickel on that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Before we get into the defense, I just want to bring up a fundraiser that we're doing right now, which is near and dear to our hearts. I'm a cancer survivor. Baby Jack and his family, they are having to deal with the fact that their little child was diagnosed with cancer. The link is in the description of the channel. If you can donate at all, any amount is appreciated, and we understand it's the holiday season. Money might be tight. You can help us in other ways. Share that link with friends, family, and put it out on your social media. I'm going to bring up one other slide here. There is a QR code right now on your screen. If you have your phone, if you're watching this on a desktop or you're watching this on a laptop, you can take your phone, take the camera, scan that QR code. It will take you right to the donation page. And then finally, on the fundraiser, we got a huge holiday spectacular planned on 12/23, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be raising money for Baby Jack. We're going to have an ugly sweater contest, and please get your ugly sweater pictures sent to the NickelCityMafia at gmail.com. Again, I think I put the email in the description, but I will. I'll double check and put it in there if I haven't. Again, it's NickelCityMafia at gmail.com. Send us your ugly sweater pictures. We're going to show them on the show, and we're going to have a winner. Somebody's going to win a prize. We're also going to have some pre-recorded and maybe some live entertainment, which is really special. I had some friends that I reached out to that are very talented. They can sing. One of them's put together a nice song. It was really touching. dedicated to Baby Jack. We have some other folks out I'm trying to get some pre-recorded entertainment from. So we got entertainment. We got a trivia contest. Jake and his friends are going to use Sporkle, which has some amazing quizzes. That's going to be fun. And then we're going to try to bring somebody on the show and do a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style trivia contest. And somebody there will win a prize. So lots of fun. It's probably going to be about 2 hours with the last 30 minutes only being on the pregame because guess what? We have a game on Christmas Eve against the Bears. So we'll talk about that at the very end. But it's like an old-fashioned telethon, Jake.
I love it. Yep, Mike, I'm super pumped for that. That's going to be a great time. By the way, I do have a running total right now, a current total, I should say, of how much money we have raised, which is absolutely amazing. $3,848. I'm seeing, too, some of the donors on here were from the tailgate yesterday.
Yes.
So thank you again, Tom, for going around and, talking to people and letting them know about this beautiful cause.
Yes, thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. So let's go into the defensive side of things, and let's talk about, I'll throw it to you. Who do you want to talk about on the defense, Jake?
I would like to talk about Daquan Jones. What a day for him. He made some really big plays yesterday, whether it was in the run game, getting to the quarterback. He had half a sack as well. He was unbelievable. I mean, he was blowing them up all game long. So I really was impressed with his play yesterday. Let's also talk about the fact that we are now 10-0 with Jordan Poyer in the lineup. Wow. I know there was the one blown coverage, but he made some big plays coming up in the run game. So very impressed with his play again. And, of course, the corner play. I think Trey White was awesome, but Taron Johnson, man, he was even better. And I'll tell you what, I think Taron Johnson, people have been a little critical of him, over the past couple of games, whether he, missing tackles and not playing great, not playing up to his standards. So it was a really, really good day for him yesterday. I was really happy to see him come out and make some big plays. Almost had that pick six, Mike. That would have been unbelievable if he got that because it would have been a pick six for sure. He had nothing but daylight ahead of him there.
That was Tyreek Hill.
That sure was. Yep.
So pretty difficult. Yeah, you're right. He had, he had one tackle for, let's see here. Do I got this right here? Where is it? There he is. He had one tackle for loss and one pass deflection. And the corners, like we talked about Trey White, but dude, he had 3 pass deflections. Yeah. And then Kyrie Elam had a pass deflection and a tackle for a loss. So, and then where's Dean on this one? Do I see Dean Jackson? He had just 3 tackles. So, the corners, secondary, played well for the most part.
I think across the board, they all did a pretty damn good job. I do think that we have to make the switch back to Kyrie Elam as a starting corner. It should be him and Trey White out there, and then Taron Johnson, obviously, in the slot. That is a really good secondary, in my opinion. If you have those guys out there, I feel very comfortable with that.
Were you surprised that we weren't getting to the quarterback as much as we'd expect, or was that just because Tua gets rid of the ball so fast?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about that. I think we were getting some pressure, and Tua felt it. It was interesting because we were doing a lot of blitzing, a lot of ballsy play calls, actually, in terms of, not just sending 4, but we sent the linebackers a couple times. I think Matt Milano, he got chipped pretty good on the one.
Yeah.
On a blitz pickup. It was a really good job. I think that was Raheem Mostert who got him there. But that was kind of interesting. But it did leave the middle of the field open, and I think, having Tremaine Edmonds obviously is huge. He can't necessarily run with Tyreek Hill or anything like that. But, I mean, Mike Gesicki, totally irrelevant yesterday. And I think any pass that was thrown across the middle for the most part, we were right there. We were right on the guy every single time. So that was really good. But I will say there's something to be said about when we had to make Tua throw to the boundaries as compared to throwing across the middle. I think it was more dangerous, obviously, when he throws across the middle. Throwing to the boundaries, he looked totally, he looked erratic, and we were really, getting in his head quite a bit. So I think if there's one thing I could say, it would be against a team like the Dolphins, when you're blitzing, not always a great idea just because of the weapons that they have out there.
Yeah. I thought Shaq Lawson did a good job again.
Yeah, Shaq played really well.
Shaq played well. I think so. So tell me what happened, because I saw Epinesa in there early. I don't know if he got hurt, but I didn't see him. There was one play where he missed a tackle, and after that, I saw a lot more Shaq Lawson in the game. Again, I don't know if he was hurt, but I do not see Epinesa on the stat line whatsoever. Did you see something there to get hurt, or do you think it was just, they're running the ball all over us, let's get Shaq in there because he's a good run defender?
Yeah, I want to say it was more of a personnel thing, just to be able to have a guy out there in case they run the football. Shaq is amazing at defending the run. He's one of our best run stopping defensive linemen. So I think they wanted him out there. Obviously, a bigger body too, and he's been playing really well. I mean, even getting to the quarterback a little bit here. So yeah, I mean, been very very happy with Shaq Lawson. He was a very good pickup for us. Welcome back to Buffalo, Shaq, because you've been playing lights out lately for sure.
Yeah, he really has. Let's see here. Who else shines on the stat line here? And Greg Russo had 4 tackles, but again,
He played a good game.
he did. He's a good run stopper, and you saw him make some big plays on the run.
He plays
stop.
contain extremely well too.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
he does a really good job. I think Boogie Basham kind of struggled a little bit, where he got turned around on the one play.
Yeah,
I think, I think he really, out of anyone on the D line, if you were to say anyone had not a great game, it'd probably be Boogie Basham. But I know he'll come back and he'll be all right.
yeah, for sure. So again, Poyer had a really good game. It's, like you said, we're 10-0 with Poyer on the field, and just that leadership. And I think he will take DeMar Hamlin over and talk to him a little bit about some of those, especially that coverage against Tyreek Hill when we gave up that touchdown there. But they'll get that cleaned up. I think DeMar. It was funny. It is funny to see how fast those receivers are, because once DeMar Hamlin had no chance to catch a Waddle.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
0.
gone.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We had wait.
That's interesting.
Let's talk about what he said. I think Josh should be under center for all 1-yard quarterback sneaks, whether for a first down or touchdown try, not in a shotgun. So that's interesting, because I guess I would agree with that. But I do know when we played Minnesota and we had the ball first down at the 1-yard line, and all Josh Allen had to do was take a snap and fall forward. There were a lot of people complaining when that happened, and of course they recovered the touchdown. There were a lot of people complaining that, why are we not in shotgun? So, and again, shotgun gives you a little more options, but I agree, for 1 yard, I mean, Josh Allen should make that play 9 out of 10 times, Jake.
Yeah, 9.5 out of 10 times, honestly, Mike. I agree with that. But there is something to be said about having Greg Van Roten at center as compared to Mitch Morse. Even on the one play you saw where Greg Van Roten snapped to Josh, there was a little bit of
yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so just the ball handling there alone, I think they're a little nervous about that, because the chemistry isn't quite the same as it is with Mitch Morse. And man, do we have some of the worst luck with centers? Because Mitch Morse goes out with concussion. That's his 6th. Eric Wood, I mean, has a career-ending injury, even going back to like Kent Hall. We've had a tough string of luck with our centers, man.
By the way, Eric Wood, did you see in our Discord that Tom's aunt met him and asked for a donation, and he gave $100. He just pulled out $100 and
said, "Here you
gave
go."
the donation. That was pretty cool.
That is awesome, man.
There is a picture in our Discord of Tom's aunt, and she works for a company that I don't know if they make golf balls, and they make really good golf balls.
Yeah, she works with Encore, which
right?
is really
and
cool.
I'm not sure what the relationship is with Eric, but they met.
I think he actually is an investor in that. I know Josh is really – so Josh also invested in Encore, which is cool. So he's got a partnership with them. But I think Eric Wood also is somewhat involved with that as well.
So big shout out to Encore. If you're looking for golf balls, check them out, because not only did Eric Wood donate, I know that Tom's aunt sent out the flyer email and posted some things. So
it's a Buffalo company too. It's really cool. I mean, it's they're relatively new, but yeah, it's a Buffalo company, and it's cool that you start to see some guys on the tour wearing Encore gear. So kind of neat.
Yeah, and I do want to give kudos if there's any Dolphins fans. Listen, you guys played, again, I've already said this, you played a fantastic game. Jalen Phillips, you got an up-and-coming rising star. That dude made that strip sack. I mean, there's a reason why he was taken as the number 1 edge rusher in the draft last year. Same round that Groot was taken, Russo. Yep. So it's crazy that they both played their senior year at the same college, but did not play together. One of them took the year off because of COVID. The other one played. So it was one transfer, right? You said Phillips transferred from UCLA, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
In his final year. And what a good move that was for him, right? Because he became the first edge rusher taken, and he looked fantastic. And they again, whether it's the Jets, whether it's the Dolphins, they have a good defense. All 4 of those games between the Jets and the Dolphins are 1-score games, one way or the other. The Jets our 3 points. We lost by 2, and then we won by 3. So incredible games. The AFC East is back, man.
AFC East is a good division. They arguably are the best division in football. So no game is easy. I mean, all these teams are competitive. It might be 4 AFC East teams in the playoffs this year, Mike. We'll see,
Yeah, it could be. You talked about the Eagles. Maybe we see, if we get to the Super Bowl, it'd be the Eagles, and you're like, that'd be cool because we got these 2 fan bases. Although the Eagles have gotten a Super Bowl already, Jake, and I keep having this bad nightmare thinking back to the 90s. We lost 4 straight Super Bowls to NFC East teams. Twice to the Cowboys, once to the Giants, once to the Washington Commanders. Whatever, we know they were called something else back then. But my fear is we play the Eagles and the 4th NFC East team beats us in the Super Bowl.
No, this is a new era, Mike. This is a new era. We're gonna right all the wrongs and beat the Eagles if that's the case.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping. Anyhow, I think that's about it. It's kind of a wrap. I do want to just, to me, it's an obvious. Who's getting the game ball? I don't even want to throw any candidates out there. It's Josh freaking Allen.
That man right there.
Right there. So, no doubt about that, right?
No doubt at all, Mike. And God, we're so damn lucky that we got this young man. He's so good at football. Gosh, yeah. He never ceases to amaze me.
And you're lucky you look like him. I'm telling you. Today, I don't know what you did. I saw that Josh was looking clean. Somebody in the Discord says, how much you think Josh pays his barber or tips his barber? I was like, Josh has got an easy haircut. He's probably tipping him $50. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big tip. You think, and you cleaned up, and you look more like Josh than ever. So
wow, thank you.
Did you go to the barber recently?
I did, but I put on about 15 pounds since Thanksgiving. So actually, I don't know if that's really true. I hope it's not true. I feel like I put on 15 pounds, but thank you.
So let's talk about one of the records that the Bills have held for the longest time. The Vikings were able to come back from 33 points. So we were doing our pregame show. Big Al was giving us updates. It was like 23-0 at some point. Obviously, at some point, they had a 33-point lead in that game. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, and for them to make that comeback, I mean, it is, I feel bad for Matt Ryan. He's now part of one of the 2 greatest meltdowns in NFL history,
wow.
The 28-3 game against the Pats in the Super Bowl and then this game yesterday. So feel bad for that guy for sure. But incredible resilience by the Vikings. They had 2 defensive touchdowns also called back. So that could have very well, the game could have really been out of hand. But they were on yesterday. I mean, that offense was clicking on all cylinders, and they did a really, really solid job.
Yeah, it's crazy what they've been doing, being able to come back in games. They did it to us. They've done it all season long. It feels like when they need to make a stop, they make a stop. And when Kirk Cousins needs to make magic happen, he's been able to do it. Tom, I agree. Game ball to Knox for sure. He was the leading receiver, touchdown, and overcame those couple drops on that one drive. And we need to use him more. We need to see him more. And I hope they keep this trend going forward. So that's about it, folks, for us. We are going to see you on the Holiday Spectacular this upcoming Friday. I hope you can all join us. Again, help us with that fundraiser. That's what it's going to be all about. But we're going to have so much fun. Get those ugly sweater pictures to us. I want to see folks getting into this, and we'll show the pictures of the contestants who submitted something, and Jake and I will make a decision on who that winner is. Both Jake and I will be wearing our best ugly sweater. And it could be ugly sweater, it could be creative. I've seen some very creative sweaters out there, man. It's pretty impressive. And I know you're going to come with something fantastic.
Oh, I'm bringing the heat, baby. I am bringing the heat for sure.
All right. Well, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's always nice to watch football Sunday knowing that your team has already won, knowing that your team is 11-3, knowing that your team has clinched a playoff spot, 1 game away from clinching the AFC East. And if we win out 3 straight games, we are the top seed. We do have that Cincinnati game. They've been playing. They've been up and coming, playing really well. So that's a game that's circled on my calendar. Of course, 1 game at a time. So, Jake, right. Thank you so much. Everyone out on the channel, great to see you. Thank you for the support. We'll see you soon.
All right, go Bills.